MGM Healthcare were delighted to help this young person to get back onto his normal life. The surgery, microvascular decompression of the cochlear nerve, entailed a highly precise and delicate microsurgical procedure under high magnification to move the artery away from the nerve and ensure that it stays that way. Before we begin and we move forward, I would request Dr. Anuradha Bhaskaran, Assistant Director, Medical Services, to please deliver the welcome speech.
I welcome each one of you to this press conference, and it gives me great pleasure in acknowledging and congratulating the neurosurgical team for having performed this novel procedure. At MGM Healthcare, our commitment is more than something we continuously strive for. It's reflected in everything we do. It's a part of who we are, and it's with this dedication to our patients that is reflected in the best clinical outcome and quality care. The Institute of Neurosciences is headed and supported by a team of clinicians by Dr. Sridhar, Institute of Neurosciences and Spinal Disorders, So it offers a comprehensive care in all aspects of neuro and spine problems. The USP of the Institute is integrated neurocare, where specialists from different departments come together on a common platform to ensure the best possible clinical outcome for the patient. It's a very happy moment for us to share with you the journey of this patient, and I give it on to Dr. Sridhar.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Vanakkam. Thank you for coming here and joining us also on the Zoom platform. Today we are very happy to announce and state that we have successfully performed a surgery to help our patient who is sitting next to me. This surgery is something which is quite uncommonly done. Less than 50 such cases have been published in the world literature. And none of these cases have been from India. So we can very proudly say that we are perhaps the first hospital or department to perform this surgery for a patient with tinnitus in India. And that is really, I think, a great thing. It's not only that, it is also to tell patients who are suffering from this problem that there is a possibility of cure by this surgery when all other types of treatment fail. Now, you just heard that tinnitus is a sound in the ear. That is what is tinnitus. The causes of tinnitus are many. It can be in the ear itself, or it can be because of a problem near the brain, something which causes a sound and stimulates the hearing organ. That is the cause of tinnitus. Generally speaking, tinnitus commonly is because of problems in the inner ear or the cochlea, which is the hearing organ. This cochlea then connects to the brain through a nerve called the cochlear nerve. Now, when Mr. Venkatraman, a young man who was in the United States, when this all started 2.5 years ago, he visited, like people should, he visited his general practitioner, then he visited his ENT doctors, and they all gave the treatment which is generally given for the tinnitus. But unfortunately, his tinnitus did not go away. In fact, it started troubling him more and more and more. Imagine having a sound in your ear all the time. It's all right when you are in a crowded place and you are talking to somebody doing some work, but when you are all alone, எல்லா ஃபேன் லைட் எல்லாத்தையும் ஆஃப் பண்ணிட்டு படுக்கணும் தூங்கணும்னா சவுண்ட் சத்தம் வந்துட்டே இருந்ததுன்னா காதுல தூக்கம் வராது. If you have to study, you have to concentrate, and there is a sound which is there, which is troubling you, You cannot concentrate. And that is what happened to this young man. So he was in the United States, he sought treatment there, then he came back home to Chennai. His parents took him to different ENT doctors who looked at the problem in many ways, but still he continued to have the problem. So he was getting very frustrated really because of this, and imagine when you're getting frustrated because of this problem, other problems also arise. Finally, one ENT surgeon, after an MRI of the brain, recommended they see a neurosurgeon, and they then came and saw me. This was about a couple of months ago, or a little more. When they first came and saw me, I too looked at all the files, looked at all the work. I said, why don't you again see another ENT surgeon? Why can't you get another opinion? Why don't you do some other therapy? But they had already done almost everything, and everything had failed. And what the MRI showed is that there was a blood vessel which was compressing the nerve of hearing, which is the cochlear nerve. Now, this surgery which we did is a surgery called microvascular decompression. It is a surgery that we perform, especially I perform very regularly for a condition for pain on the face, which is called trigeminal neuralgia. And in this condition, we'll just show you a small video on what it is. In this condition, what happens is that because a blood vessel is hitting on a nerve continuously, the nerve gets irritated and spontaneous activity of the nerve takes place. So if the nerve is involving sensation of the face, the patient has pain all the time on the face. And in his condition, because it involves the nerve of hearing, there was a sound in the ear all the time. So the surgery means what we do is microvascular decompression is we move the blood vessel away from the nerve. It's a normal nerve, it's a normal blood vessel. There is nothing abnormal, there is no tumor, there is nothing abnormal. So everything is normal. Only thing, they are very close to one another. And that's what irritates the nerve. The problem in this surgery, or the possible problems that can happen, and that's why many people do not think that this should be done commonly or are not happy to do this surgery, is that the risk in doing this surgery is that the patient can lose hearing, the patient can get a facial weakness, because these nerves are very, you are handling these nerves. So the burden of removing the blood vessel away from the nerve and at the same time making the patient not have a facial weakness and making sure that the patient does not become deaf is the challenge in the surgery. So it has to be a very precise surgery. It has to be done under very high magnification. We use an operating microscope and we magnify the image almost about 15 times. So that, and we use very fine instruments, just 0.3 millimeter tip instruments to do this surgery. So I'm very happy to say that we did this surgery, and the evening of the surgery, Mr. Venkat told us that the tinnitus has gone almost 60-70%. And when he was in hospital, he said, Abada, I can sleep properly. I mean, that was the first sign of relief for him. I can sleep properly. Nimmadiya thungam. I mean, imagine if you have not been able to sleep for 2.5 years. So this is how the patient is, and he is the patient, and this is what happened. So we are very happy that we are able to do this. That's because we have the experience of this surgery, because of the many surgeries that we are doing, this kind of high-end surgeries. And we'll just show you a small video. Can we have the video? So this is the incision we make behind the ear, and we make a very small bone opening, and that is the nerve of hearing and the facial nerve, and that is the vessel which is compressing, and the other small vessel is the nerve, is the blood vessel for hearing. So if you damage those small vessel, you lose hearing. So this is, we put a very small piece of muscle there between the blood vessel and the nerve, making sure that the blood vessel stays away. And this is at very, very high magnification, almost 20 times magnification. The nerves are very, very delicate. So this is what has been done, that graphic shows you what has been done, and this we are zooming out. So this is what in short was the surgery. So he's looking at his surgery for the first time. So this is what was done for the surgery, and we are very happy that with this surgery, which perhaps for the first time in India it has been done for tinnitus, we have been able to help Mr. Venkat get back, and he's already planning his studies and other things. So Venkat, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah.
Yeah, without your mask.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Dr. Sridhar. So, yeah, so like you said, so for the last 2 years, I've been having this tinnitus, this very loud ringing noise in my ear. And so அதனால சரியா தூக்கம் வரதுக்கே ஸோ கரெக்டாக இது காது பின்னாடி ஒரு டேபிள் ஃபேன் வச்சுட்டு லைக் லாட் ஆஃப் லைக் அரேஞ்ச்மெண்ட்ஸ் கரெக்டாக இருந்தால் தான் தூக்கம் வந்தது. அண்ட் இது லைக் ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ண முடியல, லைக் படிக்கிறது, ஒர்க் பண்ணுறது. அண்ட் ஸோ ஹேட் லாட் ஆஃப் டிஃபிகல்ட்டிஸ். அண்ட் நான் ஃபியூ திங்ஸ் ட்ரை பண்ணோம், அண்ட் எதுவும் லைக் இது லாஸ்டிங் ரிலீஃப் அண்ட் இம்ப்ரூவ்மெண்ட் கொடுக்கல. ஸோ அதனால ஃபைனலி we found Dr. Sridhar, who was very patient and very kind to listen to the problem. So our கூட பேசுறது தான் we found out about the surgery and about this in the option இருக்கிறது. And so together we took the decision and went ahead with the microvascular decompression surgery almost exactly 1 month ago. And so ipo feeling much better. Both, sleeping is much easier, and like satham nalla kuranjirukku, so I'm able to live a more normal life, which is so very thankful to and grateful to Dr. Sridhar and team and everyone at MGM for everything. So thank you.
To wish you all the very best in the future, a more peaceful, less noisy future.
Yes. Yes.
So we will now proceed for the question and answer session. I have a few questions.
Yes.
We will ask that,
Yeah.
and then we will be open for another.
Oh yes.
So, first question, I think you've already answered that. What is tinnitus in detail? Any more details you would like to give about us, or we'll move to the other question?
I think we'll move to the other.
Okay. So, the other question is, what percentage of population is impacted from it in India, and which age group is impacted the most?
If you look at how we hear things, it is mainly because of sound waves which come to the ear, and then mechanically it is transmitted through the middle ear to the inner ear. And the inner ear வந்து ஒரு spiral shaped organ. அதுல fine hairs இருக்கும். And அந்த hairs வந்து அந்த sound waveனால அது stimulate ஆகுனால ஆடும். அந்த ஆடுறதுல physics நீங்க படிச்சிருக்கீங்கன்னா பீசோ எலக்ட்ரிக் கரண்ட்னு ஒரு இது இருக்கும். அந்த மூவ்மெண்ட்னால ஒரு எலக்ட்ரிக் கரண்ட் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகும். ஸோ அந்த மூவ் ஆகிறதுல ஒரு எலக்ட்ரிக் கரண்ட் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகி அந்த எலக்ட்ரிக்கல் கரண்ட் வந்து அந்த காக்லியர் நர்வ்ல வந்து அது பிரெயினுக்கு வந்து அப்புறம் பிரெயின் அதை வந்து பிரெயின் வில் அனலைஸ் இட் அண்ட் தென் வி ஹியர் இட் அஸ் சவுண்ட். நான் பேசுறது எல்லாமே அதனால தான் நீங்க கேட்குறீங்க. இப்போ ஸோ ஒரு சவுண்டு தன்னாலே it comes on its own, okay, there can be a problem in the middle ear. Sometimes நம்ம வந்து கடக் கடக்குன்னு உள்ள சவுண்ட் கேட்கும். Sometimes நம்ம பிளேனில் போனால் காது அடைச்சுன்னா பாப்னு பண்ணி நம்ம இது பண்ணி we can pop the ears, அந்த சவுண்ட் ஒன்று கேட்கும். எல்லாமே அந்த மிடில் இயரில் இருக்கிற பிரச்சனைனால ஒரு சவுண்ட் அங்கேருந்து மெக்கானிக்கலாக சவுண்ட் வரும். பட் இது வந்து இந்த பிரச்சனை வந்து has started because of irritation of the cochlear nerve. So general tinnitus happens in the middle or older age group, and most commonly it's a middle ear problem which happens. You can't give a percentage in India. I don't think we have the percentages unless you have done some research on that. But it's a reasonably common problem. It's not an uncommon problem.
So the other one is, what techniques are used by doctors to identify tinnitus?
See, the biggest problem is that tinnitus is a subjective problem. Only the patient can understand the tinnitus. Nobody else can. You cannot measure a tinnitus. What we have is a tinnitus measurement scale, and he has undergone this scale multiple times, because only by doing that scale we understand the tinnitus. So, காதுல சத்தம் கேட்கறதுனா எனக்கு தான் கேட்கும். Nobody else will be able to hear it. It's only me. So it's like pain. We can only ask how much pain. So like that we have to ask the patient. There are some questionnaires which are there where we can objectively understand how bothersome the tinnitus is. So there is no test to diagnose tinnitus. Tinnitus is a clinical symptom. But once a patient complains of tinnitus and we want to understand it, then we have to do high definition CT scans to look at the middle ear, inner ear and all that. And then we have to do an MRI to make sure that there is nothing wrong in the nerve, the brain pathways are all right and things like that. So these tests help us understand the cause of the tinnitus.
So, doctor, in this case, how severe was the impact of tinnitus and possible causes of occurrence in a young age?
In Mr. Venkat's case, as you can understand, it was the severity score was quite high, so it was already done before by another ENT surgeon, and then we repeated it here just to make sure that we understood really what was happening. So the severity score of tinnitus was high for him, and that is why he was so troubled. Now, it is not very common in the younger age group. It is generally middle age is the cause of tinnitus, is the more common age for tinnitus. Younger age, it's not so common, but when it happens, we really have to look at a proper cause. And there are many causes which can cause tinnitus, and we have to look at that cause by doing CT scans and MRIs.
So, how did you zero in on MVD surgery for the treatment?
Sorry, how did you?
How did you zero in on MVD surgery, and why is it not done globally till now?
Oh, it is. We had run out of all options, and that is why. And because the MRI showed, see, modern MRIs, when you do it with 3 Tesla, like the one we have here, we can actually see these fine vessels also. There are certain MRI sequences whereby we can look at the vessel hitting the nerve. So actually the MRI showed a possible vessel hitting the nerve, and therefore that option came up. And he had already tried everything, and therefore actually during our counseling sessions and talking sessions, multiple times I asked his mother, I asked him, why don't you try this again? Why don't you try that again? Let's try it. And that's why our meetings took place over a period of 2.5 months before we finally decided, yes, we will do the surgery. Because you must understand, it's a surgery. And we are doing it for a symptom which none of us can see. It's only him. So we wanted to be absolutely sure that we had run out of all other options. And like I told you, and like you saw in the video, it is something where things can go wrong. And a young man can become deaf or have a facial paralysis. Yes, we were confident that we are not going to do it because of our experience and expertise. But still, it is our moral duty to make sure that all other avenues which are less invasive are tried out before we do it. Now, we then zeroed in on MVD because that was the only option left. Globally, less than 50 cases, about 44 cases have been done in literature. I just checked it 4 days ago. 44 cases have been done in literature, have been published in literature worldwide. Now, it is not commonly done because people try other options and it can be done, and that is one of the reasons why we have invited all the members of the press, because we must tell the public that if there are people here who have tinnitus, who have a sound in the ear which is bothering them and which is not going away by the normal methods which is used, then this is perhaps an option which can be looked at. I am not saying it has to be done for everybody, but it is an option which is there, which can be successfully done, and the patients can get rid of their troublesome tinnitus. So the thing is, you need the experience and the expertise also to do it, and the infrastructure. It cannot be done anywhere. You need high-end microscopes, you need other things to help you during your surgery. And therefore, without all that, it's not correct also to do it. So perhaps that is the reason why it is not being done regularly, but it is also because I suppose people are not aware that this is a possibility for intractable tinnitus.
So post-surgery, what precautions the patient must take for a complete recovery? And is it completely curable?
We do it with the aim of complete cure. Even if we get a 60 to 70% reduction, we are very, very happy, because that is a significant improvement in quality of life. Currently, all our medical work goes towards improvement of quality of life, and this is one huge thing which will happen to improve the quality of life, and I think that is very, very important. So the precautions taken, of course, are to, just like any other surgery. So it is a surgery at the end of the day. So whatever precautions are done for any other surgery, it's the same precautions. There is nothing different. The incision is behind the ear. Perhaps you can show them the incision. You can't even see it. Yeah. So and the patient can get back is up and about the next day. So that's not a problem. Only thing, we don't want them going about till the wound heals. These are the normal surgical precautions, otherwise nothing special.
Doctor, what can be done to raise more awareness about tinnitus in India?
We need the media to talk about it, because we can only talk to people and perhaps he now knows and he can tell his friends. But how do we tell many people at the same time? It is through the media, and therefore I am very thankful to the media for coming here and trying to spread awareness about a new technique to help people with tinnitus, where tinnitus cannot be solved by other problems. This is a novel technique which has been done here at MGM in Chennai. There is no need to think about going abroad. It can be done right here.
My next question is for Mr. Venkataraman. How was your experience at MGM and how are you feeling post-surgery?
So my experience at MGM was very, very good right from the start. So I guess me and my family, we came to the hospital one day before surgery and did all the did all the pre-surgical tests and everything. So so everyone was very very friendly and very helpful. And post surgery, so it's been, like I said, so 1 month after surgery now, and recovery is going very well. So I'm able to do all the things I like and do and be read books and play chess and all that, all those things without hearing that sound, and and by just having focus on a single thing that I do. So that is that has been really great, very very big improvement already, and seriously very happy I underwent this surgery.
I've only not allowed him to play contact sports.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I told him, don't do it yet, maybe in a couple of months. Otherwise, everything else he can do. I have been doing the surgery now for the last 30 years for trigeminal neuralgia. And I have found muscle to be the best material to use to put between the vessel and the nerve. Many places in the world they use an artificial substance called Teflon. I have also used that, but I have not found it as good as muscle, in my personal experience. It stays there permanently, and when we audit our cases and look back at our cases, we find a very good recovery and follow-up rate. So I think it will be there permanently, it does not cause a problem.
This tinnitus is different from vertigo or what?
Vertigo is thalai suttal. Tinnitus is sound in the ear. Actually, in that video you saw, I had written 7th and 8th nerve. There are actually 4 nerves there. One is the cochlear nerve, which is the nerve of hearing. Then another one is the facial nerve, which makes our facial muscles move. Then the other 2 nerves are vestibular nerves, which make us keep our balance. So what happens is, in vertigo, the vestibular nerves are involved. In tinnitus, the cochlear nerve is involved. So it's a completely, though all 4 of them go together.
So we have one question from our online viewers. Can this condition occur due to cracker bursting near the ear?
Any loud sound, any sudden loud sound, or even a blow to the head suddenly can result in a tinnitus. The reason being the cochlea, which I told you, the organ of hearing, gets disturbed, and all the nerve fibers in that get disturbed. So a sudden, for example, a sudden sound can cause tinnitus, but generally these are temporary. It will last for some time, maybe 24 hours, 36 hours, and then go away. Okay?
What is the cost of this operation? Is it covered under insurance?
Yes, it's covered under insurance. The cost varies depending on the ward. So for general ward patients also we do it very, very cheap.
So some of our online viewers have requested to have the video played again.
Oh, yes,
and
play.
a little bit of explanation from you
Oh, yes.
one more time.
Can I
So
stand
we'll
there
have
and
the
do it?
video again.
Yeah, I'll stand here and do it. So maybe you can freeze when I tell you to freeze. Okay, just freeze there. Okay, so this is the incision we made, this is the ear. So just behind the ear, we make an incision, a round incision like this. And when we open the bone, because our brain is inside a skull, we have to open the bone. So it is about 2 centimeters to 2.5 centimeters, maybe 1 inch diameter. That is the size of the bone opening that we make. Okay, please go on. So stop. Now this is the nerves I told you, 4 nerves. We call it the 7th and the 8th nerves in medical terms, but there are actually 4 nerves there which include the cochlear nerve or the nerve of hearing, the facial nerve and the vestibular nerves. So all four go here. This is the brain here, and then it goes towards the inner ear here into the bone. Now, this small blood vessel is actually very small. It is actually very thin. This is the labyrinthine artery, which is actually the artery which supplies the organ of hearing. So if we damage this artery, the hearing is gone. And then this bigger red thing was the artery which was actually compressing the nerve. Can you please go ahead? So that is what was there, and this is what I have explained here. So this is the compressing vessel, this is the nerve, and this is the labyrinthine artery. So this is what in this diagram I have explained here. This is the small brain or the cerebellum, which is here. And then this is the hearing nerve, which you are seeing, and the compressing artery is like this. So this is the compressing artery. Next, please. Please go on. So we use fine micro instruments like this. You can go on. To separate the bands of tissue which hold the, stop now, which hold these are all bands of tissue which are normal, which is called arachnoid, which holds things together in the brain. And we need to separate what is holding this artery against this nerve. So that has to be done, like I told you, with very precise. It has, you cannot make any mistake, because if you make a mistake, you will damage either this vessel or this nerve or this artery. And anything you damage is a disaster. So you have to be very precise and very delicate. It's like doing a rice grain la arc pannuvanga. It is like that. So if you make a mistake, that grain is gone. So you have to do it correctly. Okay? So then you separate that using very fine. The instrument tips are less than 0.3 millimeters. That's how fine it is. Please go on. So we take muscle. Just see, when you open here, there is some muscle here. So we take the muscle from here itself. We don't open anywhere else. We don't have to. It's right there. So we take, and the muscle bits are just this much. It is less than the size of your nail. It is just less than that. So we take only that much of small bit of muscle, and then go on please. And then we place it in such a way that the vessel is kept away from the nerve and it does not come back. So you realize that with my movements, that these are all at almost 12 times magnification. That's how big. So we are zooming out. So you can see slowly the magnification is reducing. And even now we are at about 4 to 5 times magnification. So we then move it so that the nerve is not, it's not that you push the nerve away, because if you push nerve and handle nerve like that, the nerve function will go. So you can't do that. So you have to very delicately make sure that the vessel moves away and then keep the vessel away from the nerve by keeping the muscle there so that the blood vessel does not come back and hit the nerve. That is the main idea. The blood vessel's pulsations must not hit the nerve. Only then your surgery will be successful. Please go ahead. I think that's the end of it. Yeah. So that is the video.
Alright, so this marks the end of the press conference. I would request Mr. Saravanan Raman to please deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of MGM Healthcare, I've been called to propose a vote of thanks. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Sridhar, Director and Group Head, Institute of Neurosciences and Spinal Disorders, for beautifully explaining how the microvascular decompression surgery has brought smiles and relief on patient Mr. Venkat. I think his elucidation of the procedure clearly explained to us the complexity that was involved and the kind of relief that is brought in the patient's eyes. I would like to thank friends from the media, those who have come physically and those who are connected virtually on the Zoom platform, for being with us, and we would urge you and request you to write about this so that many people can be aware that there is an option like the microvascular decompression surgery available. I would also like to thank our patient who's smiling today, Mr. Venkat, for trusting in Dr. Sridhar and his clinical team and in MGM Healthcare. And last but not the least, I would like to thank my colleagues, the management of MGM Healthcare, for the ecosystem and the support that they provided to all of us. Thank you one and all for your presence. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. We have also arranged snacks takeaway, which is right outside. Request you to please take that on your way out. Thank you.